you were talking about GLOC-9 earlier, like
Yeah, mga pare namang gumin kahit na maraming harapin gaano man kalayo kayang-kayang marating.
talking about GLOC-9 earlier, like how did that record come about? And how did you, who reached out to who? Like that's crazy. When I found out that you guys have collaborated, I was like, it's over. I was like, damn, yo. I was like, damn.
I was surprised too, yo. Because that was not me who put that together.
Yeah.
I gotta give credit to Biggs, yo, to Barkley.
Shout out to Biggs.
So what was pretty cool was even way back in the days, bro, like 4 or 5 years ago when we started performing and opening up for artists back home, because they were like what's called bands would come here, Parokya, GLOC-9, Abra, all these artists would come here to perform. And we started having connections with the producers, the organizers. And at that time, it's like we were one of the more known rap groups, right? So anytime you bring a Filipino rapper from Philippines here to headline a show, they started looking for rap acts. And we were able to perform or open up at least once or twice, and we did a good job. So thankfully for these guys, they saw like the hard work we put in, and then we started getting asked to do more and more opening. And we actually opened up for GLOC-9 multiple times. Way back, like 4 or 5 years ago. But at that time, it's like we didn't really have the opportunity to talk to GLOC-9 or to reach out to him, right? Like for example, when Looney came here, his security wasn't as bad. Like he actually came out to hang out with us, right? And Biggs is like was a friend of his from way back. Then since Cebu, yeah.
Okay.
And then Abra, when he came here, again his security wasn't too bad, and they actually knew us because at that time our song Parehas Lang came out, and apparently like rappers back home were listening to it. They've never heard Canadian Filipino rappers, right? And so when we introduced ourselves, they're like, oh yeah, Southeast Cartel, blah blah, we know you guys. And we ended up actually taking Abra out. We brought him around Toronto for a little bit, and he was almost late for his flight because we had to, as people, man, we had to weave in and out of traffic just to get him to the airport, bro. We were probably hitting like 150, 160.
That's crazy.
Because we had like half an hour to get him there from downtown Toronto. You know?
To Pearson.
Yeah, and then with GLOC, when we first opened up for him, man, like he has a lot of people around him, right? At that time, and it's not like you can just enter his dressing room because usually in the backstage, all the acts usually have, if we're lucky, have our own dressing room, which is a little small, and then the headliners have like big dressing rooms where they have like security in front, so you can't really reach out and introduce yourself, right? And then about a year and a half ago, GLOC-9 started using Facebook more, and he started adding people like artists. And I think he knew of us from before too. Like again, like some of our songs were actually making it back home, and maybe he recognized us as people that opened up for him. So I remember, I think the first person he added was Biggs, right? And Biggs was like, "Yo, I think this is GLOC-9." And I was like, "Where?" And we're like, "Look," I'm like, "Yo, shit, that is, that's him."
Jeez.
Right? That's his, and it's not his GLOC-9 Facebook account; it's his personal account.
Okay,
right? Because like if it was Facebook, that's a different thing. But if you're adding someone on your personal,
that's something else. Yeah.
That's saying something,
actually,
right?
Recognize you. Yeah.
And I think, and then he slowly started adding the rest of us. And I remember Biggs ended up asking him because it was Biggs' birthday, and GLOC-9 messaged him on Facebook like "Happy birthday," blah blah. So Biggs is like, "Oh yeah, thank you, this," and I remember after he said that, he replied, he messaged us we have a group chat, right? He's like, yo, I think I should ask GLOC-9 if he wants to work on a song, right? He's like, you don't know unless you ask, right? So he's like, oh well, you know what? Before you ask him, like he's like, oh maybe not before a song. Let's see if he wants to be part of the music video, because he was coming here for another show, right? And we're like, okay, let's take baby steps. So we asked him, what's it called? Would you mind like being part of our music video?
Which is what
the one before that. So Blessings.
Blessings.
Right?
What a life, what a life, yeah. What a life, what a life, what a life, what a life, yeah. That's how I live my life. Go ahead and live your life.
And he was like, yeah, he's down, right? So I guess like he's seen what we've done, and I think with GLOC, he'll support you if you notice that you're passionate about what you're doing and you're putting in work. So we were opening up for him that time too, and when he finally got there, we were actually able to meet him in person, talk to him. Again, he has like people around him, you know, like you can't just come up to him, right? Even when he comes out of his what's it called, dressing room, you have like 2 or 3 security, like making sure everybody comes out of the way. But with us, he was like, oh no, he's telling the security, he's like, oh, it's okay, let them pass. So we're just kicking with him backstage, and you know, we asked him, can we shoot it in your dressing room, because the backstage is too cramped, right? And there's a lot of equipment and dancers and all that going back and forth. So he took us to his dressing room, freaking huge too, and he was like, oh, I'll be right back, because he just finished performing, right? So he's like, I need to go change first. So he went to get changed, and we were probably chilling there, and I remember we had like a group of people with us, maybe about like 20, because it was SEC, and we're the rest of the rap community wanted to be part of the music video too, right? So we're like, yeah, come on, and GLOC-9 was okay with it. So he was gone for maybe 10 minutes. Around 8 minutes, security came in, and they're like, what are you guys doing here? We're like, oh, we're with GLOC. He's like, no, there's too many of you. He tried kicking us out of the dressing room, yo. I guess he's just doing his job, right?
Right. Security.
Yeah, plus it's like friggin' 20 friggin' people that look like us, yo. We're literally starting to leave the dressing room, and then GLOC-9 comes back, and he's like, no, they're with me. We all come back in again, and we ended up being able to shoot that scene on Blessings. And I remember too, he said he was gonna be there for a couple more days. So we're like, you know what, let's just ask him if he wants to hang out, right? And surprisingly, he said yes. So we ended up, I remember too, it was like the day before, like we asked him, because he was leaving like supposedly the next day,
Right.
and then he messaged I think it was Biggs or someone else from the group, and he's like, oh, we actually got our flight delayed, because they were supposed to go to New York or something for another show. So they were gonna stay for an extra day. So we're like, oh shit, if that's the case, let's see if he wants to go for that dinner, right? And I remember that same day, that's when he confirmed, and we had to find ways to get to Mississauga, because he was staying in a hotel in Saga, right? And there's like maybe 15 of us at that point that was in the region. So call, like, you're in work, yo, find a way to get off early. You're supposed to be working that night, find a way to call in sick. You're working the next day, don't worry, yo, like this is like once in a lifetime opportunity.
Right.
So we all go hang out with him, and it was just him, his wife was his manager, and like I think two of their friends here in from Toronto. Like they were rolling with some locals, right? And we spent about like maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours just kicking it, and he was telling us about like his experiences back home, giving us advice as artists, right? So it's like what we're doing now. It's just basically how we were talking to him while we were eating, right? And I remember after that, like you know, he ended up going. I don't know if he went to New York again. I don't know, something happened with their performance. But after that, I think the week after, we're like, yo, let's ask him if he wants to get on a song, yo, because like everything felt good, right? And you built a relationship. And the thing with asking someone to collaborate or even be part of a project, it's easier when you build a connection already.
You establish the relationship.
Yeah, because like if I never knew him and I would randomly message him, like I probably wouldn't get a response back, right? But with him, it was like he liked us. I guess he did like us, because we had a good time with him, and we were able to do a song with him, yo. And he was very professional. A lot of times when you work with other artists, you might have to wait a long time to get something done, or they're gonna make you wait. But he was professional, man, and he ended up giving us that verse, yo. So, and from there on, we were actually supposed to shoot back home a music video, and that was last year right before COVID hit, because the whole SEC went back home for Ian's wedding, and we're like, yo, since we're here, let's do up a show, right? And since we're doing a show, then let's do up a music video with GLOC, because he lives close enough to Manila, right? And he was down too. He's like, yo, just tell me when and what time, and he's gonna reach. I'm like, that's crazy, because I'm like, I don't know how people back home would react to GLOC. Because here it's like Toronto's pretty chill. Like we see celebrities from time to time. You're not gonna get flocked. You're not gonna get hounded, right? So we managed to get a spot, and like it had to be all like top secret. Because the moment someone, like your cousins or like the people you know from back home hear that you're about to shoot something with like GLOC, they're like, yo, can I come? Can I come? And you're like, you don't want to say no. Yeah, it has to be low key, right?